and welcome back. This is my channel. I am Georgia McGilly from Georgia-Beth Photography, and today I am with Constance Taylor from Mrs. T Weddings, and we're going to be chatting all things wedding planning. So come on in with us. Okie dokie. So how did you get into planning weddings? Just share a little bit about your kind of journey into your job for it.
Sure. So, cliche, I got married and decided to become a wedding planner. Prior to that, I'd always worked for companies where I'd been in charge of logistics, in charge of big teams. Events has always been a part of my role in whatever job I've done for other companies in the past. And then, when it got to my wedding, I thought, oh, this is quite nice. And then I'd done it for, I'd planned a few weddings for my friends and family as a bit of a hobby really, and then took it a little bit more seriously, I guess, when it came to my own, and thought, well, actually I'm quite good at this, really enjoy it. Quit the day job and decided to make it into a full-time profession.
Just let me know what you love most about your job. Sort of what's your drive?
So I think, for me, I've worked in lots of industries and I've done lots of jobs, and the thing that I find, I get really passionate about is when I really connect with the people I work with, and is where I really care about what I'm doing, who I'm working with. I'm working with positive, fun, upbeat people, and nothing is more positive than getting married.
Yeah,
it is so positive and lovely, and so it's really, it's a really special time for everybody, and I'm really grateful to be invited into that journey with my couples, and to be able to be surrounded by their positivity and their excitement. And there are hiccups along the way, pandemics included, and those aren't the most positive of times. However, it's really lovely that I'm working with a couple to make sure that they get married at the end of the day, however that might be. And it's really important to me that those relationships are really strong, and they're positive, and they're fun, and we have a laugh. It's not all too seriously, it's not all too serious or too doom and gloom.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference, doesn't it, to your couples and the experience that they have with you as well, because if you really connect with them, then they get to have the day of their dreams, because you really have spent time.
Them. Yeah, exactly.
Them, and
I always say that, I used to be a PA years and years ago, and it was kind of, I always saw my job as being a mind reader, and it's a bit like that. I'm kind of the PA to my couple, and I need to be their mind readers, on the day, especially when it comes to, something happening not quite according to plan. I need to just make that decision for them, so that they're not having to think, oh, what do we do because Auntie Dot can't get home at the end of the day. I'm like, oh no, I know Auntie Dot, we need to sort out a problem, we need to sort out some transport for her. I'll just organise that without the couple ever needing to know there was a glitch in the system. So it's really important to me that we really understand each other, and they can trust me, that there's that really solid level of trust.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So do you have any particular style when you come to planning a wedding?
Yeah, so no is the answer. I absolutely adore different styles, whether it be minimalist, maximalist, loads of florals, really modern, traditional. I love them all, and I would get really bored if I was just churning out the same weddings every single time that I booked a new client. For me, it's so much more about making sure weddings are personal to the couple, and to start the process with me is that we really get to know each other at the beginning of the whole journey. And some of my couples will be further along the wedding planning line than others, but at all points it's so important that I really understand what they're about and what they want to achieve from their wedding, and then we can make sure that whatever style it ends up being is really personal to them, and it's not just, oh, this is another boho wedding. It's right, this is so and so and so and so's wedding, and it's got a bit of boho, it's also got a little bit of, I don't know, it's got a little bit of Disney to it or something, whatever it is that couple are really into, making sure their personalities and their passions are really a part of that as well, which so I guess the style is making sure it's always it's a compliment to my couple.
Yeah, which is amazing, because I think weddings, because they're such a big event in our lives, we do want them to be unique to, each couple wants their wedding to be unique to them, not just to be a copy of a Pinterest board or something.
Exactly.
So that's why it's so amazing that you spend that time.
I think it's also, from this is my business background, but this is the first day of saying this is us as a new brand. Like, we're now a brand, and this is what our brand is. And it might be that your brand is all about those little very personal touches, and you might have very sentimental notes on each place setting, or it might be that you're all about the party, and so it's all about extravagant champagne spray, or whatever it is. And it's that is this day is that first and probably the only day that you'll be with everyone in your life saying this is what we're about as a brand, and this is how we want to exhibit ourselves. And you need to get that across. You want to make sure that you're sending that right message over, rather than a kind of cautious tiptoe into a wedding that you're sort of like, well, I think this is what a wedding's meant to look like and feel like, so this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's great. And so can you just talk us through a little bit of your process from the couple meeting you to the actual day? Do you are you there on the day? How are you involved in kind of the process leading up to it?
Yeah, so as I said, it depends where they join me in their wedding planning journey. So if you were to have full wedding planning with myself, in general, you'll book me as soon as you get engaged. And I think in the summer, I had about 3 or 4 couples that had only been engaged for about 24 hours by the point that they booked me, which is, or first spoke to me, which is, really, it's a really lovely point to join the journey, because you're really on it together. That engagement is a finite amount of time in your lives, and you need to make sure that you're really enjoying it. And I'd hate to think of a couple spending 6 months of their engagement getting really stressed about their wedding and not actually enjoying the time of being engaged together. So get involved very early on for the full wedding planning, and looking at who they are as a couple, spending a lot of time together, really understanding what it is that makes them tick, as I said before. That unfortunately tends to be on Zoom at the moment, but ordinarily would be face to face over lots of lovely lunches, and spend it, hopefully a nice bottle of wine, and kind of really get to know each other. Then once we've kind of got to grips with that, then we go through the process of getting the wedding planned. We always use a system called Aisle Planner. And that is a cloud-based online platform where we have all the tools on there to plan the wedding. So it's got the to-do list, it's got the budget management, it's got all of the suppliers, it's got all of the contact details, it's got everything you could possibly need in order to know what, and all the design side of it as well. Slightly like an elevated version of Pinterest, so that you can see the whole of the plans for your wedding in that one place. We'll go through everything together, and then there will be peaks and troughs in the planning process. There's times where not a lot's going on because it's all kind of under control and not a lot needs to happen, and then things will pick up again. Certainly 3 months out, it's final payments are due with all the suppliers, confirming numbers with all your guests, all of the catering requirements, any seating requirements. You're thinking about the seasonality, what's happening with the weather, are we going to get the flowers that you wanted from the florist, things like that. And then those final 6 weeks is kind of full on getting everything sorted. Then those are kind of the points that people tend to book as well, if they're not just going for the full plan. There's also the partial plan, which can be at any point in the planning timeline, but in general it tends to be towards the end when most of the suppliers are booked. And then there's the on the day coordination, which would start that 6 weeks out moment, going right up until the day of. And with all of my couples, I'm always there on the day and make sure that they have the day that we've planned together, and make sure it's all executed exactly as they envisaged and as we've planned together.
So thank you so much for chatting just a little bit about you. I'm sure I can say for myself and for everybody watching that we've just really enjoyed just kind of hearing a little bit about your process, why you started, and we will catch up again next week to find out kind of your best tips on other couples when they're doing their own wedding planning. So we'll dive into that in a little bit.
Perfect.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Constance is just going to let you know how you can get in contact with her if you're interested in her booking your wedding, and then we'll say bye. So yeah.
So Mrs. T Weddings, it's mrstweddings.com, or it's on Instagram, Mrs_T_weddings.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank
you
you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on next week's other little edition with Constance, and we'll see you really soon.